Hi, this is Desiree Flores, and I am here today with a really good friend of mine and a very special guest, Henry Cejudo. Thank you so much for being my very first guest on the show.
I'm honored. I'm honored to be an MMA winner. I feel like this is going to become one of the biggest shows in America, so I'm extremely honored that you're having me as one of your, actually as not one of, as your first guest.
How did such a genuine kind of person get involved in the sport, like combat sports?
I was not always like this, you know. I was growing up when I was a kid. I was a little more, how can I say it? I was more of a rebel, you know. If anything, I think the sport of wrestling, MMA, has humbled me to become kind of more genuine and just more humble. But I think for the most part, it's sometimes it comes through nature and nurture, you know. When you don't have that much options, or you grow up in the ghetto like me, and you kind of fight your way out of the neighborhood to make something out of yourself. So that's something that kind of happened in my life, and you know, I'm just extremely fortunate to be here. You know, very happy. I'm getting the chance to fight, you know, for the belt for the second time against Demetrius Johnson, and you know, there's a lot that goes on that you know, it's not just you just get up and you just train, and there's a lot of nerves and just your time, all the sacrifices that you make to get here is a lot. It's a lot of work.
What would you say, all of this, you have your wrestling, you have this fight, what does this fight mean to you compared to all of these accomplishments?
Well, I think it means a lot. Will I ever get close to this here, being a gold medalist? I'm not sure. I'm not sure until that happens. You know, because my first dream wasn't the UFC belt. My first dream was this. You know, it's almost like your first love. Like your first love will always make a print on you. And to me, this so far has left like the biggest print. But I am looking forward to see if I can find what I found wearing that UFC belt. You know, so would you say that what's harder, winning the UFC belt or winning the Olympics? I think I haven't won the UFC belt yet, so you might want to ask me afterwards. But you know, it's something special. It's such a hard sport, like the sport of wrestling. You know, I was doing these, you know, and I'm still not done with this wall, but I had put it up like a few weeks ago, and Daniel Cormier was like, I saw him in person. He's like, hey, how many stop signs do you have? I said, how many stop signs do you have? And he says, I have 6. I says, yeah, man, I have 15. And we're talking about the champ. We're talking about Daniel Cormier, light heavyweight champ and heavyweight champ. And just, man, to let you know, this is the background that us wrestlers, that the majority of the fighters come from, which is the sport of wrestling. You know, this is the hardest thing you could ever do. To a lot of fighters now, man, it's like, dude, wrestling's hell. And you can ask all of them, Colby Covington, Tyrone Woodley, ask all these guys that have ever wrestled, like, man, I can never go back to wrestling because it's too tough. It's too competitive. So what happens is we go into the UFC, we get into mixed martial arts to get paid too, because financially sometimes I feel like you know, amateur wrestling, you don't get paid unless you win. Right. You know, so a lot of these fighters, when they're accustomed to just train and train and train, not receiving anything, when you finally give them something, you're like, whoa, I like this. It's a treat. It's a treat to us. So that's kind of how mixed martial arts, that's kind of how I gravitated towards too. It's like, hey man, there's an incentive out there. It's not just a handshake. It's not just, you know, $3,000. It's you know, man, you're making a good living off of this.
So you're turning the sport you already do into a sport where you can make an income.
I went to all these schools because I care. Because when I grew up, I was a kid that grew up on welfare. I was a kid that didn't have much growing up. But when you get somebody that can take you under their wing and they can give you some, if it's the government, if it's your teacher, if it's somebody that can give you these words of affirmation, man, it'll change you forever. And in my instance, that's what happened. It's like, hey, you can reach the top of the world someday. You could, but it took those certain people to do that.
I see you also. I know you're in fight camp right now, and so you have you have a lot of people in your house from all over the world coming to help your camp. But I see you with groups of people all the time. I always see, you know, I know that when you went and trained at Tough, you had some of the fighters around you afterwards that you were still training with and helping. I always see you in a group. So is that group a group of people that you're mentoring and helping all the time? Or why do, because I never really see you travel alone. It's like you and like 4 Brazilians all the time. What is that group?
Yeah.
It changes.
And kind of it's, you know, part of me, and I don't do it to take people under, because it's a give and take too. You know, I have, man, at this time in my life, I'm like, I know this is eventually going to end, this bachelor, this life of, you know, playing pool at midnight, of doing all that stuff's going to change. But you know, I'm single at this time, so I try to help out but again, it goes back to the give and take. So as much as I help them, they help me too. So I'm always, I try to help out as much as I can. Like I have right now in my house, I have 3 Brazilians, a guy that we brought out from Mexico, a guy that we brought from Amsterdam. We get all these guys, and I've had guys from South Africa, Russia, Canada, just pretty much from all walks of life, man, coming to the house, and we all just sit there and just strategize if it's about MMA or just break bread and just talk about life. And I think that's something that's extremely cool, man. It's a huge melting pot. It's not always nice, but for the most part, I wouldn't change it for the world.
Now you brought it.
Not even a hot blonde, I wouldn't.
I know. I was kind of wondering that. How come you haven't hit that part of life? You just don't want it? Are you too focused on your fighting right now that that's something you want in the future when you're done with it? Yeah. I've always, my goals growing up since, well, I was 17 years old when I wrote down my goals, and the goals that I had up top from 1 to 3 was number 1, and I'm gonna go down from 3 to 1. Number 3 was to be a UFC champ. I knew eventually someday I would get here. So that was number 3. Number 2 was to be an Olympic champ. And then number 1 was to be the best father in the world. And I can be a UFC champ and I can be a gold medalist, but unless I give time to my kids, my future kids, and that's what's gonna make me happy, you know. What that told me at the age of 17, I remember writing it down. It was a Rich Dad Poor Dad book. I remember writing down my goals in the back, and I remember thinking, it was like, damn, I'm pretty solid to think like that, because I know there's gonna be life after all this crazy stuff. All this stuff's gonna melt down. Who knows? I may pawn that one day. Never. Never.
But what I'm saying is that's. You know, there's life other than all this crazy ruckus that we do. But there is, I understand there's a limited window, and I have to seize that opportunity before that iron gets cold. Strike while the iron's hot. Now, you brought up DC. How did you feel about his win? Seeing how powerful his wrestling was against Stipe, does that give you any extra motivation in this next fight against Demetrius Johnson? Absolutely. That's actually a really good question. Absolutely. I remember watching that fight, I'm just thinking like, man, I've seen Daniel. I've known Daniel since 2004. I've known him for, man, what is it, about 14 years now. And I'm just like, man, Daniel, I've seen that guy struggle, man. I've seen him get pinned. I've seen him, you know, we're Olympic teammates, world teammates, you know, Pan American Games teammates. I've seen this guy lose, and just for him to, at the age of 39, practically 40, that he's able to do this, man, that gave me a boost. I'm like, man, Demetrius Johnson's just a human being just like me. And he's always been a human being just like me. He bleeds just like me, everything. It's just, I'm just here to rewrite history, that's all. I've been here before. I've been here before so many times, time and time again. It's not gonna stop me, so I wanna thank Daniel for the motivation for sure. Yeah, do you feel like enough time has gone by to be able to defeat a champion of his level? Absolutely, absolutely. I'm like, man, that dude's at another level, but I also know the things that I've done, the actions that I've taken, traveling the world, being gone, you know, 2-3 months at a time, being in Europe, being in Brazil back to back, not coming home, not seeing family. I know all that stuff's gonna make sense. I'm gonna have to make sense of it. Right. And not just that, but I still feel like the basis that I have, the power, the strengths, that I can neutralize this fight still. And it's crazy because even though Demetrius Johnson beat me the first time, you know, I got knocked out in 2 minutes and 37 seconds or something like that. Even after, when they asked me, it's like, Henry, what do you think? It's like, man, the first thing I came out, I was like, I still think I could beat him. And I truly do sincerely believe that. Like, it's not just being smoke. I'm not just blowing smoke up my rear. I'm not. To the rest of the people, to the rest of the world, I am, for sure. I understand it. I get it. But I know, you know, the self-belief that I have is going to take me. It's going to take me far.
Now, sometimes in a rematch, I wonder if, since that you've already faced that opponent, you've kind of gotten a feel for the way they fight, that can help you prepare for your next fight. Mm-hmm. Since it did go by kind of fast, do you feel like you didn't really get to feel that in there? Or are you taking what you learned from that and are able to train on it for the
yeah, that's life. Life is, that's how it went. You know, I wish I had another extra round with them at least. But no, I got 2 minutes and 37 seconds. And I have to make those, I have to learn from that 2 minutes and 37 seconds. And I have to understand, why did I get caught? How can I not get there again? And how can I reverse that decision? How can I be a better gamer? Not a gamer, but a competitor.
I saw that tweet you had. Yeah, that you guys went back and forth like that about him. Now that's another thing. Chael Sonnen had, you know, he's so funny, and he comes out, he says hilarious things, and he's talking about how, you know, the nice guy role's already taken, and that's Demetrius Johnson. Yeah. And when he's saying all that, I'm thinking, but Henry, you are just so genuinely nice. Like, it's not even like a role that you try to put on, and it, for you to, like, I mean, you are a smart aleck. So like the tweet and things like that, yeah, I can see that.
But is that really?
But I mean, I just feel like, I don't know if you could play these like Colby Covington roles and things like that. It couldn't be you. Like, this is who you are. You just said you like going to schools and teaching, or, you know, like talking to children, and you want to be the best father in the world. I don't think you can play a role that's not you. Now, how do you feel like if you were to get the title? Yeah. And, you know, those are huge shoes to fill. Yeah,
well, that's to be determined. When that happens, then we'll know. But I understand Chael Sonnen. I understand his frustration with me, because he knows, like, hey, man, there's a showbiz to it too. And that's kind of where, man, I can act. I can, oh, you know what, brother, I want to, I can do all that. But I'm just afraid that I'm going to start laughing if I do that. And that's just the reality, you know. But don't get me wrong, I think, you know, every athlete is confident, but they're also cocky within too. I can say I'm a little cocky.
Well, yeah, if you right after that, you're like, I know I can still beat him.
Yeah, I mean, but no, but that comes down to more self-belief. But dude, every great athlete that you'll ever meet, they're a little like, if you don't. I was just with Barry Bonds not too long ago, and I talked to him, just like, man, this dude is one cocky ass guy, man. And I was sitting there talking to him for a half an hour. Just like that, we were both like, man, I'm just thinking to myself, like, damn. But you know what? I can understand why he's achieved a lot what he's achieved, because he's emotional, but he can control it he can control it when he's playing baseball, you know. And that's what we have to translate. When I fight, I have to be able to use what I believe in and display it out there for you guys in front of 20,000 people and millions of people watching.
What do you think your niche could be? I feel like everybody might have a different niche. I mean, you being Mexican-American, I mean, Mexicans love boxing, and I know they haven't really all transferred over to MMA, but I haven't really seen anybody in the last few years really tap into that market. Do you feel like maybe you have a niche that could be different than?
No. I think once I'm done fighting, I'm done fighting. I'll be done with the sport. I'll be a fan, but I'll just be done with it. You know, I could say goodbye. I said goodbye to wrestling. It was tough, but it was like a relief. I can say goodbye to MMA too, and I can start my next career. And that's kind of who I am.
So how long do you see yourself doing this for?
Man, you hit me with some hard ones. I think I probably got about, you know, 4 years in me, possibly, maybe 3. I wanna
at least that, because it's I mean, you're barely starting to hit. You haven't really even hit your prime yet.
No, I'm in my prime now, I would say.
You're like, oh, you can go all the way up to like 32 and still be right in your prime for fighting.
Yeah.
You are right there right now, but I mean, like you have.
Yeah, but I don't want to fight forever too. Like this is why I respect guys like Yoel Romero and Daniel Cormier, because these guys went through 2-3 Olympic cycles in wrestling. And then now they're still fighting, and they're both. Yoel Romero's the #1 contender, lost by split decision, and Daniel Cormier is a 2-division world champ. You know, I have just a high level of respect for these guys. You know, but I'm sorry?
Do you feel anything in your body? Like, have you felt any symptoms, or right now, do you feel like you're really healthy and you don't really see any side effects? I mean, you see people like Max Holloway and some of the things that they're going through. Does that put anything in your mind?
No, because I've always been smart. I've always, you know, my defense has always been #1. Like I've never. I put my pride aside. If I'm hurt, dude, guys, I'm hurt. I'm not Mr. Tough Guy. I've done it, dude. I don't got anything to prove. You know, we even had a conversation today about a guy cutting weight, and I'm like, dude, if the guy said he's done, he's done. Is it worth the life over him cutting weight and doing all this and saying he made it when he's freaking passing out? I was like, no, he's done. Right. You know, there's a time where. And maybe people will look at it and be like, dude, that's silly. I was like, no. There's a separation. I think people need to understand that there's a separation between mind, body, and soul. It's somewhat all connected, but it's not. You gotta somehow connect it when you're good, but when you're not, it's like, dude, if someone sticks you in the knee, cracks you, you know, it hurts. It's gonna be a physical thing. It's not because it's in your head. Dude, that hurt. Right. You know, there's a separation there, and I think I'm a fighter that understands, like, hey man, there's time to say, you know, that's it.
And I like that you brought that up, because I was, you know, at first I was talking more about like the injuries that you have in the cage, but you bring up the weight cut, which has been a really big thing lately in MMA. A lot of people aren't making weight. You know, people seem to really be struggling with it right now more than ever. I don't know why that is. I don't know if they're just trying to cut too much weight, why we're having more of a problem with this right now than we were in the past. You've had that problem a couple times in the past. What would you say that you would attribute your situation to?
A lot of it was I was doing it wrong. I think when I initially first started MMA, I was like, man, these guys are spoiled. They get 24 hours to recover. Probably more than 24 hours until they recover. And when I was in wrestling, I've always saw it as a process. And when I started fighting, I stopped seeing it as a process. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna eat all I want until the last day, because I know I'm gonna have 24 hours to recover. So I would slam 16 pounds like pretty much the day of weigh-ins, man. You know, like 24 hours before I weighed in, it's like I'm gonna smash these 16, 17 pounds. I'm gonna suffer, but when I make the weight and I start eating, this dude's gonna pay. You know, rather than having it as a process where you gotta, hey man, you're not 21 no more, Henry. You're a lot older now. And a lot of that came with age too, and it was hard for me to actually recognize, like, hey, your body, your metabolism is just different now. Like I used to not even be able to grow this facial hair. I used to have like 3 hairs here. And I was able to do things that I thought I could always do forever, but it's not like that. So it bit me in the ass. Part of it was being undisciplined. Part of it was just being undisciplined, man. Like enjoying life a little bit too much. Not like a rock star, but just enjoying the K's, the tamales, the tacos, and everything. And then on the process, trying to do everything in the last minute. And that'll bite you in the ass. And I think if I was to give advice to any fighters, like, man, there's a process to this. And if you're serious about this, you have to hone in on it. You have to understand, it's like, hey, I'm in a 2-month camp. I gotta eat this certain food. I gotta weigh a certain amount every day in order for me to peak at the right time. And for me, it's gonna be a world title August 4th.
A world title is the best pound-for-pound fighter of all time. That's incredible. All right, can I take a look at your fridge? Can you show me how you diet? Like what your diet is like during camp?
Sure. Just to kind of show you a little bit of the things that It's all organic, non-GMO, organic, and all that crazy stuff.
So this is that chicken and sweet potato?
Yeah, sweet potato, asparagus, and all that. So that's just dinner.
So, oh my goodness! Look how tiny. That's a snack.
Yeah, this is my snack.
Oh my goodness! It's microscopic. Can you see it? Snack. So tiny.
Look like roaches.
Do you eat fruit during your camp too?
Fruit too, grapes, strawberries. Actually, not really, but not this camp.
Do you cheat at all? Like, do you have like a cheat day or?
Sometimes. No, I'm not cheating. Like, if this is considered cheating, then shit, I'm a cheater. You know.
Do you get like this far out? Do you already get tired? Do you feel weak when you're training? Are you exhausted?
It's normal. It's normal to feel good, to have bad days. It's normal to feel frustrated. It's normal to feel, ambitious. There's a lot of emotions that, because training for a world title, man, it's just not the same. There's almost like, you want to say you enjoy it, but because there's so many people in your ear, and you got such and such and such and such and such, and you get all these different perspectives, and it gets kind of annoying.
Does that mean you want to seclude yourself?
No, but you accept it. Like, I got to the point, I just accept it. I let everybody say their piece, even if I don't agree. Go ahead, talk it out, and that's it.
Did they try to tell you how you should do your fight, or what do they tell you how to eat, or what are they trying to tell you?
No, I think just advice. People just give advice, and sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's bad. Sometimes you gotta, understand who you are, understand your philosophy as a fighter, and then kind of take everything as, by a grain of salt. And if it's good, you're like, man, I'm gonna use it. And I think that's how, going to Natal, Brazil, and understanding the art of karate, of distance and timing, I was able to kind of pick that up. I was able to kind of display that when I fought. People are like, oh my God, look, Henry looks like Conor McGregor. But it's going out and learning from some of the best gyms in the world.
So what are the emotions that are going through you when you're preparing for this? I mean, obviously you're used to dealing with heavy pressure, being in the Olympics and going through all that, and you've had a title fight before. What are you feeling inside right now?
Just probably nothing really. I don't how can I tell you? I think it would mean more to people that are with me than it. I'm just thinking about that. When I think about the fighting, I think about August 4th. To a lot of people, it's every day, and I get it. We train for this, but it's not. It's like Demetrius is not on my mind 24 hours. Like, he's not. He's on my mind every day, but not the whole day. You know what I'm saying? And I think I've learned to kind of separate that. I was like, dude, he has his style. He's probably not even thinking of me either. But just training for a world title, it is different. It is different because there's more people get involved, more people want to help, in a good way. And you get a lot of different philosophies because everybody has the magic potion to beat this guy. Everybody knows a recipe, if you just listen to me, and that's something that as a fighter you got to deal with, you know what I mean? Like, even if it's a professional, if it's a non-professional, you just get a lot of, you got to do this, you got to do such and such and such and such. It's like, okay, man. Sometimes it's good and sometimes.
Is Santino your head coach?
Yeah, Santino, Captain Eric, actually Eric Albertson right now for 227. He's the head coach for this camp.
He's been around you for how long now?
Since 2004. Since 2004, so yeah. So he's been the head coach for this camp, and it's so far so good. So far, so good.
Yeah, he's a very solid part of your training in camp and out of camp, right?
Yeah, he's one of the best coaches in the world. He trains, Paulo Costa, Borrachinha, the Eraser. He was in Lota Machida's corner. Like, he's corner, so he's trained some of the best. Anderson Silva, the Pitbull brothers in Natal. And if you want to be the best, man, you got to surround yourself around some of the best minds of mixed martial arts, and he just happens to be one of them.
So you train at Fight Ready, but you tweeted that you've been training in Brazil. So what brings you to Brazil? Why do you choose to go over there? Because I've seen you train over there a few times.
The beaches.
The beaches bring you to see you're tweeting that you're over there training hard in Brazil at the beach.
In the jungles. In the jungle.
That visual of you training in the jungle.
No, it's just good, man, because you just get you get that other aspect of training from other people. You get a third world piece. I'm sorry, a third world part of how they train. And they train sometimes to, willing to die or willing to die on the mat or even killing. This is just in practice. So I like going out there because, man, these guys have that mentality and they got great. And in my instance, I train with the Pitbull brothers, with Patricio and Patricky. Patricio's the Bellator world champ. And I get a chance to see these guys, man, at the highest levels and understanding. Just watching Patricio train it inspires me, because he's the world champ. I want to get where he's at, the most winningest fighter in Bellator history. And you want to mimic these guys. You want to give and take and ask questions to see how can I get there, how can I get there faster than you. What advices would you give me? And not only do I train out there, but I get advice, and I think that's something that's extremely cool.
That's very cool. So what is it that you've been practicing these last 2 years that you've been training on a lot harder that will make this fight so different?
I can't tell you. Are you a Demetrius Johnson spy? Are you a Russian spy?
I guess somebody watching could be. So.
No, I think it's just when people ask me how do you beat Demetrius Johnson, I feel like I gave the best example ever. I said time, and nobody could ever argue that. When Kenny Florian and Karen Bryant asked me, on Fox on national television, says how are you going to beat Demetrius Johnson? After losing to him, I says just give me time, just give me time. And the time is here, man. It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years since we fought. And I'm excited. I'm excited to get back in there. Like to me, it's not a survival thing. To me, it's going out there and giving him the medicine that he gave me in in UFC 187. That's the payback I want to give him.
So all of this, I think anybody looking from the outside, they think, oh, Henry Cejudo, he has a title shot. Demetrius Johnson, he's the best pound-for-pound fighter. And it's so on paper like that. Mm-hmm. But, we've already talked about looking at all your history and everything you've built up to this. What does this really mean to you as a person? Not just as a fighter, but as a person, to your family, to your friends, to you, to your future?
Yeah, I think this will cement me as probably one of the best. Beating Demetrius Johnson will probably make me one of the best combat athletes of all time. Being an Olympian, being an Olympic champ, and being a UFC champ, it just cements you as one of the all-time greats. Like not just the great, but one of the all-time. Two of the hardest things any human being could ever do, especially going up against the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. So I love that aspect of it. So give him all the accolades, give him all the credentials, put him on a pedestal, and watch me chop him down. So I like it. I use it as a motivator, man. This stuff, I'm a competitor. I strive off of that in my whole life. It's unfortunately the first time we met, it didn't happen, but now I get my redo.
How do you feel about you being Mexican American? You have this title shot. Kelvin Gastelum, Mexican American, also from Arizona, has this title shot. How amazing would it be for you both to bring home titles? Man,
that'd be awesome. Not just because we're both from Arizona, but we're both really good friends, and we travel a lot together. We go to Mexico at least. I go down to California. He's come down here. And we'll go see each other and spend time and just have fun. So it tells you something about the state of Arizona. It tells you about something about the Mexican blood. That man, we've been warriors through our ancestry. Since back to the Mayan and the Aztec days when they would fight till death. you know, there's a bit of piece of that Indian blood in us that allows us to, you know, to fight even with more courage.
Well, I'm not going to keep you much longer. I can tell you're tired. I know you've been training all day. You're on a weight cut. You're exhausted, but...
Desi, I'll give you all the time in the world for a cutie pie like you. You're kidding me? I'm looking into sunshine, ladies and gentlemen.
He gave me his first in-person interview this camp, right?
First interview. I think everything starts next week, so you better post this real quick.
I'm going to get this edited fast. No, but I have to ask you, so coming from, because we're talking about Calvin, and I asked him what this belt meant to him at UFC 226, and had a chance to speak with him, and he said, you know, coming from humble beginnings, it meant everything to him. And you've talked about your humble beginnings and everything you've worked for it. When you were 17 and you wrote down those 3 things that you wanted to be someday, did you honestly, because you said that as an athlete you have to have some level of cockiness, did you honestly firmly believe that you were going to achieve those things, or was it just so far-fetched to you that it was just like a dream? No,
it was always, I've always, since I was a kid, I've always had a confidence. It's hard to explain because to a lot of people, like, what? I feel like I was born with it. I feel like I was born with just a mindset that, man, it's not normal. It's not normal to be a little kid and lose and just be upset the whole day and not talk to nobody, not play cards and not play tag because I was just too much of a competitor. It's like, man, I was 11 years old and I lost my first match and I was just sitting there just like this. Every other kid that won or that lost or out playing, I was just like, I didn't even grab my silver medal. I just left it, you know. But what I'm saying is, it has nothing to do with me being, how can I say it? Maybe being a poor sport. Maybe, yeah, maybe. And sometimes, sometimes when I see that in kids, it's like, it's not bad if he's able to recognize and if he's able to use it as a motivator to say, hey, you know what? Next week I got you. Next week I hope.
Only in that though? Or is it like, can you play family game night and lose?
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah. I'm not one of those guys. No, when I set my mind to something, I want to do it there. I just got beat by pool. You know, you just beat me in pool by.
Yeah, I did that.
But no, I'm not that. I don't think I am. I'm not that guy unless if I dedicate my life to it. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for sitting with me today.
Yeah, it was an honor. I'm excited to debut your show, and I hope it goes to the top like I imagine it.
I really am so excited for you to have this title shot again. I know how hard you've worked for it again. I know, like, I hear stories. I don't know if they're all true, just because we know a lot of the same people, and they tell me, you know, that just all through your childhood you were just training. You didn't have, because you kind of mentioned it right now, but they said you just, and I didn't know if it was your choice or if it was just like just being into the sport that took up your time so much, but they said that you didn't really have all the same social life that everybody else had because you were training. You're training for the Olympics. You were always in that mentality, and I feel like to build that and to spend your whole life doing that and to get to this point, and even just getting here, that's so huge. And as a Latino, you know, I mean, like, just in general, but, you know, coming from where you came from, and then always seeing you around other people and trying to help other people, bringing me in for my first, you know, your first in-person interview this camp against the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, which, you know, you're about to fight.
Hold on, it does mean I'm not going to ask for a kiss at the end of the night. That is, you're not off the hook. You're not off the hook yet, Desi.
This is like, and then now everybody's over there looking. They're peeking. Oh my gosh, but yeah, so good luck, and I will hopefully be there to watch.
Okay, no, sounds good. Thank you guys for watching, and I want to wish you the best too. I think you have everything in the world to make this happen. I think just keep pushing, keep striving, and just don't let just keep the pedal to the metal, and you'll see things will come a lot faster than you've ever imagined. Just just hone in on it. Understand this is you're meant for this. You're born for this.
You were born for this. All right, thank you, Henry.
Thank you, Daddy.